Welcome everybody to Action Reaction, our action movie podcast with me, Zane Simon, and my co-host, Troy O'Diamonds. We are here to talk about all our favorite action movies each week, picking a different theme and trying to surprise one another and convince one another to watch an action movie around that theme. And this week, Troy, what's our theme this week?
This week we are talking about childhood trauma.
God damn it. I don't want to talk about childhood trauma. Can I not talk about childhood trauma? Can we talk about something else?
I mean, we don't have to talk about your childhood trauma, but we do need to talk about childhood trauma as a theme in action film.
It's inescapable. If we're talking about childhood trauma, we're going to have to talk about my childhood trauma. Damn it.
God, you are so self-absorbed.
Look, just because I wanted a pony when I was 7, and my parents wouldn't get me a pony, and its name was Sparkles, and it had really fast hooves, and it rode around the field, and it had a pretty mane, does
And
not
put
mean...
flame stickers on the side of it to make it run faster.
That's right. Does not mean that I was being unreasonable. I am not an unreasonable person, Troy. I am not an unreasonable person.
Well, yeah, your standards for movies disagree.
You know what? I don't have to take that.
Look, this doesn't count as re-victimizing you. We're talking about childhood abuse in movies because it's important. And, you know, when someone comes from violent beginnings, oftentimes they'll end with violent ends.
Well, that's just a bummer. I feel like that's a threat. I feel threatened.
You should.
Okay, well, before we get to our movies, and while I'm still reeling a little from our threats, we have a new advertiser this week. It's not Glue Apron. I have 5 sample boxes here that I do not know what to do with, and I have huffed enough glue already. Like I don't need another shipment of glue.
Okay, to be fair, I spoke negatively about their polyurethanes on last episode, and just like man to man, their polyurethanes are surprising.
So we have a new sponsor this week. This week, our show is brought to you by Lacuna Incorporated.
Okay, what do they do?
Remember the Alamo?
Sure.
Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy.
No.
But why remember a destructive love affair, Troy?
You know what? I may have a competing sponsor.
Troy, I know you've had a lot of destructive love affairs.
True.
And here at Lacuna, we've perfected a safe, effective technique for the focused erasure of troubling memories.
Yeah, it was the sound of my can opening.
That's not a troubling memory, Troy. I am pretty sure that's going to make you happy.
But it'll erase some things.
Okay, well, maybe. But our patented non-surgical procedure will rid you of painful memories and allow you a new and lasting peace of mind you never imagined possible.
Where'd the research for this thing come from? Is this like a CIA thing?
You know, we have many doctors willing to go on the record for the safety, effectiveness, and efficacy of our procedures over at Lacuna Inc. All right?
Okay, can you guarantee that this isn't based on like some MK Ultra shit?
The most important thing is, Troy, that I want you to, not forget that with Lacuna, you can forget.
Cool. All right, yeah. I'm into this. So non-surgical, forgetty stuff. That
Yeah,
rules.
Lacuna Inc. is here for you. We're here to erase the bad parts of your memories, which, might leave you with a gap from like 5 to 25, but you didn't really need that anyway.
And they can help you out with your childhood pony trauma.
You, just let's just leave the pony trauma on the back burner, okay?
Look, we got to do good by these sponsors, man. Blue Apron isn't paying after you talk shit about them, so I'm trying to really sell Lacuna here.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll feel sparkles. Okay, so movie time.
Movie time.
Childhood trauma. Sparkles. Childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Troy, what have you brought to the table? Why have you chosen childhood trauma as our theme this week?
Well, I had a really good foreign film that I thought you'd be interested in.
Like with subtitles foreign?
Not with subtitles foreign, unless you can't understand like a British accent or an Irishman or something like that.
Okay, good. I for a moment there, I was going to be shocked and appalled that you had so betrayed your basic beginnings.
No, absolutely not. There may be a Scot in there.
Oh, okay.
Potentially a Welshman. So if you can manage all of those accents, then you should be good. If not, we might be able to find a subtitle track.
So it's like foreign if you're from Iowa.
Yeah.
Okay. Or in your case, Illinois.
Yeah. I mean, Midwest, it's all the same.
Yeah. Flyover country. Okay. Yeah. So what is this foreign film that you've brought to the table?
This foreign film is from 2002, and it is called Reign of Fire. Have you seen this?
God damn it. Oh, fuck. You're going to make me watch the stupid dragon movie?
I'm going to make you watch a dragon movie. Where in the opening scene, an English kid is going down in a tunnel that looks like a mine, but it's not. But, English kid going underground, you just assume it's probably a mine. But then a dragon comes out and kills a ton of people. And his mine worker mom, who's down there.
My only memory of Reign of Fire, standing like a beacon. This is like, now I feel like this is really the childhood trauma episode. Because my only memory of Reign of Fire, a movie that I saw as a young man, is the whole Star Wars reenactment scene.
Which is, it's heartwarming.
That's one way to describe it. Heartwarming, sure.
Yeah, so for context for the audience who may have not seen Reign of Fire yet, dragons murdered the entire world. Now they're out of stuff to eat since everything died except for like maybe this one group of people in Ireland. And so the dragons are desperate because there's not a lot of food. And this group of survivors is desperate because also no food. And we learn this all from a voiceover from a soon-to-be shirtless Christian Bale. And so what Zane is describing is, while they're doing their post-apocalypse stuff and Christian Bale just like super wants to survive and outlast the dragons, they entertain the kids with just some classic stories they know. And it's Gerard Butler, but bear with me, like there's not a lot of Gerard Butler. And some other guy doing the Empire Strikes Back scene where the whole "No, I am your father" thing, and the kids love it. That's how you entertain kids in a post-apocalypse. Is you tell them Star Wars stories, and then they have to go to bed, and one of them asks for the Lion King scenes because that's the stories we would tell
them. This is fair. These are the stories. If the millennial, if the Gen X generation and millennial generation was destroyed and wiped out in a holocaust of dragon fire.
Yeah, this would be our oral tradition.
Our oral traditions would probably be The Lion King and Star Wars and Toy Story.
Pretty much, yeah. And then a bunch of groans when people do Harry Potter because, oh my God, there's too many. But whatever.
Well, it would all be this like Lib Dem, and then Hillary was like Harry Potter, and then everybody would just be like, we need to get better stories and metaphors for how we remember the world.
Yeah, although I don't think anybody would be bringing back Game of Thrones because, dragons.
Reenacting Game of Thrones in front of children would be a terrible idea.
Yeah, like the lady riding the dragons to conquer it. It's like, oh no, she's very bad.
Well, I was thinking more all the rape, but yeah, also the lionization of dragons would also be bad in the context, sure.
I mean, the theme of this is childhood trauma, and the trauma we know these children have had is dragons.
This is true.
Yeah. These poor kids and poor Christian Bale who grew up seeing dragon burn his mom. It sucks. So, anyways, we get to some action. And some dudes try to steal cars to like get some crops, and the dragons notice, and so the dragons just come and like burn them because that's what they do. And then Christian Bale and Gerard Butler show up in like flame retardant suits and water trucks to try and save them and save some of the crops, and they do, but that's like all they try and do is save what they can. There's like no offense going on here.
So it's a little bit like maybe like the Road Warrior, where there's like the group pulled out with Humongous outside and all the like encircling evil Road Warrior riding like goons who are picking people off.
A little bit, but it's more of like we're gonna stay underground, we're gonna avoid getting caught, and like hope the dragons don't notice that we have crops they can burn and eat. Apparently, dragons eat ash. That's the way it works.
Which I guess that would have to be because they burn everything at like incredibly hot temperatures. But
yeah, and why else would they evolve to breathe fire if it wasn't, a productive means of creating sustenance?
True. I feel like ash is like, because the calories are something like calories are how much you can burn out of a piece of food. Like that's what a calorie is it's how much burnable material is in food.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're all carbon-based life, so.
So if you burned all the food in order to eat it, you would essentially be rendering it void of caloric value. That's the problem I would have there.
Are you trying to lecture me on dragon anatomy? Are you a dragon dietitian?
I'm just saying I didn't get my degree in dragonotomy for nothing here. And the ash thing is a problem.
I actually know someone who did, but that's a story for another time.
Oh, yeah, well, maybe a story for never.
Okay. But so, again, we have these English and Irish people just, trying to batten down and see if they can survive. And you know what shows up next is a crew of goddamn tanks. These people didn't know anybody was even alive outside of their little castle colony. And next thing you know, there's some tanks rolling up. And do you know who is driving those tanks as the American stereotype of this movie?
No, I cannot remember for the life of me. Who's our American stereotype?
It's a dude named Van Zandt, played by tall drink a distilled Texas moonshine, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, of course it is. Of course it is. Who better? I'll give McConaughey credit. He really, really represents America well, because not only is he this like sort of pseudo hippie heartthrob that gets a lot of love, but he's always also this like crazy off the reservation AWOL political voice that comes up with all these like pseudo libertarian thing or like right wing things where you're just like, what? None of this makes sense, and is all just you're just trying to pass over all of your crazy by being really, really, really incredibly good looking. It's like Zoolander in real life.
Yeah, pretty much. But in this movie, it's not like the charming kind of got a drawl. All right. It's not that Matthew McConaughey. It's the serious McConaughey.
Ooh.
The kind of raspy. It's a pause between his words so that you know he's serious when he's talking about the dragon. Like that's the McConaughey we get here, and it's the right thing because he says he kills dragons. And McConaughey's like, bullshit. Bale pulls out a dragon tooth. He's got a goddamn dragon tooth for a necklace, and explains like there's a certain time, like the dragon's vision is great during the daytime and it's perfect at nighttime, but in that twilight hour, they just can't really judge where you're at, and that's when they strike. They call it the magic hour. That's when to do it. And
you know what I call the magic hour?
I'm gonna let you finish that. What?
I mean, it's just, it can be any hour, really. It's just when the mood is right and the lights are low. I find that twilight sort of feeling really, my magic hour is very much more magical, I think.
And I had thought you'd lost that love and feeling, but apparently you find some time to groove with yourself. Good for you, man.
Yeah, I just.
So, anyways, enough about Zane's dick.
Hey, never enough.
Some dragons show up. Some dragons show up because you know what? We called bullshit on McConaughey, so let's see what he can do. So all the Americans are like, yo, roll out with a fucking chopper and a dirt bike and skydivers and net guns, and it is cool as hell. It's great. And then Christian Bale rides a fucking horse. It's awesome. And a dragon dies, and so do some people. But it's fucking cool, man.
Yeah, this is like, you've been really, I feel like you've been pulling a lot more weight lately for me. And The Guest was fun. Before that, Dread, that was fun. My memories of
skydivers killing dragons.
I don't know that I'm ready for this.
Okay, so it gets better after that. Trust me, this thing is a trip. McConaughey rants about how every dragon they've killed is a female, and the idea is like there's only one male, and that's in London. And if they kill the male, then that's going to be what puts a stop to this whole thing. There's going to be no more dragons, and that's going to be it. And then he tries to like draft some guys from the castle where they're at, and so Christian Bale's obviously pissed and starts a fist fight with him, and it goes about as well as you'd expect a fist fight with Christian Bale wearing a sweater to go with a Kentucky Army man.
See, because the thing is, I know it's Matthew McConaughey and Christian Bale, so it's like the fist fight between Batman and the guy from Dallas Buyers Club, right?
Sure, or it's
fist fight between the guy from The Mechanic and True Blood.
Detective?
Or True Detective, yeah. They both ping-ponged from the incredibly skinny, almost starved out guy to masculine super cop.
Yeah, just super entirely too yoked.
Yeah. So here, quick question.
Yep.
I just thought about this. Do you think that the Reign of Fire is procreationist propaganda?
It is not. They explicitly talk about in the initial voiceover where they're explaining the world that the dragons are what killed the dinosaurs, and it's just a cycle of birth and death.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
The dragons are what killed the dinosaurs.
Yep. That's how it worked.
Of all the backstory dragon idea out there,
they got to it really quick.
Oh,
they addressed your concerns in the first couple of minutes.
They did, and it's hilarious. The dragons, that actually, I have a little respect for that now, because that is the most unnecessary batshit piece of insanity to throw in is no, we're scientific. It was the dragons that killed the dinosaurs.
Yeah, well, they knew you were going to ask it.
It's true. It's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
They came prepared because I was worried this was procreationist propaganda. I couldn't remember.
Nope. It really, really takes the scientific timeline seriously. So McConaughey and crew roll out after the one big dude dragon, and it just fucks them all up in one pass. Like it gets just about everybody. And part of the reason Bale is so like against going after anything is he thinks that the dragons are gonna, track it back to the castle and fuck them up because I guess that happened somewhere. And it happens. The big old dude dragon goes back to the castle and it annihilates people. And they're like trying to get everybody into the basement where it's secure and like there's sprinklers and a big heavy door and all that. And they get some people, but not everybody. It seriously cooks some folks up. You get like a family-sized fried Gerard Butler. It's like that 8-piece bucket extra crispy Gerard Butler.
Oh, poor Gerard. See, and you would think they would know. I mean, a dragon, it always follows its prey back to its nest. Like, that's common dragon lore.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah, anyway. I mean, what choice do they have now besides like, well, it knows where we are. It knows that it can fuck us up. All we got is throw everything we have, all the rest of our munitions and fighting age people at this thing, which at this point is just the main characters. So it's like the lean team. It's Maddie McSee, it's Christy Bales, and the second in command American. That's it. 3 people going after it. And they're like navigating through tunnels, and like the way that they know their way around the city is because that's where Christian Bale was as a kid. He knows where this dude dragon is because it killed his mom, and he is going to avenge his goddamn mom. I mean, he even gets like some bad flashbacks to when his mom got dragon murdered.
So do we feel that the childhood trauma was like an appropriate push for him to do that? I mean, like it kind of like the childhood trauma is pushing him to do what he would have had to do anyway, because it's not like his individual trauma was the root of like, and that's why I hate dragons today. I mean,
I think it's why he was so desperate to survive more than anything. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to take any sort of risks because he had seen what hell dragons hath wrought since he was, a little fucking kid. His mom burned up in a mining cage.
You would think everybody would have seen that in the dragon holocaust that destroys the world. You would think that wouldn't be an individual reaction to Christian Bale.
But he saw it first.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so a theme of this is that there's also the dragons are as desperate as the humans are because there's so little food. So like there's also like some dragon cannibalism going on, or dragonableism, I guess. But yeah, it's tense for everybody. Nobody's on good footing, and so they like the humans split up and they are ready to take this motherfucker down. Literally the only motherfucker dragon because it's the one dude.
Yeah. Thanks for really explaining that out there. I really needed the full follow through on that line.
I wasn't sure if you were picking up on the line and wanted to get you through. So also, I haven't mentioned it, but Matthew McConaughey has been carrying around like a big old war axe in occasional scenes in this movie. Yeah, and you keep thinking, it's like Chekhov's war axe. Why did he have that in the first act? And he's got to shoot it in the third act. So after everyone splits up, they go to like their points for where they're going to ambush this dragon. Matthew McConaughey climbs up like this giant chimney, takes off his shirt because
of course.
What would you do if you were going to fight a dragon? Would you do that with your shirt on? I wouldn't.
No, especially not if I'm Matthew McConaughey. Shirt to the enemy.
Yeah, exactly. So he shoots some shit at the dragon. It starts coming after him like beeline, straight on. And you get this shot of shirtless, ripped as fuck Matthew McConaughey picking up his big fucking war axe, then sprinting in slow motion and leaping off this tower. He doesn't have a parachute. He doesn't have anything that's going to save him if this doesn't go perfectly. He is leap of faith for all of mankind, axe in hand. We are going to fuck up this dragon right now. And it eats him.
Of course it does.
Just eats him.
So given that he gets eaten, and given that he carries a war axe, and given that he's Matthew McConaughey, do you think that this is the sequel to The Wolf of Wall Street?
It could be.
Of Matthew
mean-
McConaughey's character. Like, he just disappears in The Wolf of Wall Street. He's there for like 5 minutes in the beginning of the movie, where all he does is talk about jerking off, doing lots of drugs, and then pounding his chest. And like,
Yeah, there actually is a scene of him humming and pounding his chest. That's on the director's cut DVD. Maybe.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna find that and fact check me. Fuck off.
exactly. So my thought is that Matthew, the Wall Street collapsed, and maybe collapsed again. He left. He was disillusioned with the money and power. He joined the army. Dragons came, destroyed the world, and then he became a dragon hunter.
And in the end, aren't bloated private financial systems the real dragon all along?
I think they are.
Yeah. We need to nationalize the dragons.
We do. It's important. I mean, they say the way things are now, dragons are only for the rich, and that's not right.
Right, which is why we're really happy when Christian Bale shoots it in the face with an explosive crossbow bolt.
That's right. Christian Bale represents the little guy here.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the movie. No dragons come around for a long time, and things seem nice. Although there is a kind of haunting, not really epilogue, but you can see like some storms rising where there's somebody saying like, oh, we're getting communications from other people. There's other people out there, but they're speaking French. So.
Oh, shit. Really, you didn't make the world any better for anyone at that point.
I mean, if we're going to trust the English and French to get along to rebuild society, history is on the wrong side.
We've already failed.
Yeah.
So
that's Reign of Fire.
I'm gonna have to watch Reign of Fire again. It has been so long, and I felt that was one of those movies I felt I had firmly lodged into the past of my mind. Like, I saw it. I've never watched it again or felt the need, and I thought I was okay with that. And now you're pulling me back in. And
by the time you've watched it again, you're going to be like me and rooting for 2 sequels. Not 1, 2. 2 sequels. Not a reboot. The Reign of Fire trilogy. It's time.
The trilogy. Okay, so on the flip side, I remembered how much you liked Cold Summer of 1953.
Oh, you motherfucker.
And you chose childhood trauma as a theme. So I thought it was time to give you one of my other favorite Russian action movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a film. I think you'll enjoy this one more. It's more your speed. It's faster. There's more action. It's more. It's a more fun up tempo movie.
Colors and subtitles. What's our status here?
It's in color. It
Okay.
definitely has subtitles.
Okay.
And it's called Brother, and it's from 1997. And it is written and directed by Alexei Balabanov.
All right.
And it's about this guy, Danila Bagrov, who's so this is the thing, is this actor, he didn't live that much longer after this movie was made, but he looks like he's about 17 in the movie.
Okay.
And his age is never given or anything like that. So it really feels like this teenager. And it's about this guy who just got released from the army. And he is trying to reintegrate himself into society. He just got done with his service. And
this is in like the late 90s.
Yeah, it's in the time. In the time it's set, in the late 90s. And he goes
Great
home.
time for Russia.
Yeah, he goes home, and while home, the first thing he does is he stumbles onto this set where they're shooting a music video.
Cool.
And he's so entranced by the music video. It's for some band called Nautilus, and their song Wings, which I think they must be a real band, because it just, they actually have the band plays several times, and it seems like a real thing. And I don't know, just one of those things that I'm going to assume. But
did Wings ever do a song called Nautilus?
You know, it's a good question. It's a good question that I don't know the answer to. So
Okay.
I'm going to say yes, because how many fucking Wings fans are there out there, really?
Yeah, this is, again, something nobody's going to fact check.
Yeah. But he stumbles onto this music video, and he stumbles onto the set, and he fucks everything up briefly. Like, he just starts talking during his shoot. And immediately, a couple of guys just, like, run up and grab him and try to beat him up. And the next thing you see is him at the police station, and his like eye is all bloody and his mouth is all bloody. And the police officer is like, if you'd been drunk, we would have thrown you in prison. You broke that other guy's arm and like, and knocked out some of his teeth, or almost knocked his eye out. That's what it was.
Okay, so it's a real, like, you should see the other guy kind of thing.
Yeah. And he walks out, and they're like, okay, but we're going to release you. And he walks out, and he sees the guy sitting there.
If you were drunk, this would be a problem.
Yeah, if you were drunk, we would call you belligerent, but you weren't, so we'll just let you... Because it turns out that the guy, the chief of police knew his father, and his father...
Okay.
His father, apparently, you learn later down the line, died in prison when he was a kid. And so a lot of this movie is like unspoken trauma that never quite surfaces for the characters. Like it never surfaces for the main character quite, but you get that there's all this like underlying, your father died in prison, you're in the military, and he keeps telling people when he was in the military that he was just a file clerk and he worked at headquarters, but he's insanely good at killing people. So that seems really unlikely.
He's insanely good at killing people with file cabinets.
That's right. And so, like, he walks out and he sees the dude that he sees one of the other dudes that he got into a fight with. And he's like, did I really break that guy's arm? And he's like, no, you dislocated. It was just dislocated. He's like,
yeah.
And he's like, and who was the dude that was crying a bunch? The dude that was just crying all the time. He's like, oh, that was the director.
I was hoping the punchline would be that was me.
And so he goes back home, and his mom is just like, you're a fuck up, and you are going to, you're only going to, you should have stayed in the army. You're not going to amount to anything if you stay here, and I don't want you around. So you need to go find your brother in the big city. He's a real like stand-up, wonderful person, wonderful guy. He's got a real job. He's got a real career. He was always like a father to you because your father was dead. And you need to go find him, and he'll take care of you because I can't do anything with you, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds fair. Hold on, though. So you said this character looks like he's 17, but he's already done a military tour?
Yeah. Like, the actor at the time is actually 26, but he legit looks like a 17-year-old.
Okay.
And there's no way, like, you can never watch, even knowing that he's 26, you'll never see him and be like, oh yeah, he's 26. Like, he just looks like a teenager.
Okay, so he's basically like Elijah Wood, but Russian.
Exactly. The Russian Elijah Wood. And so he goes to the big city, and he's like, the next thing, like, it cuts to, you find out that his brother, the well-to-do businessman in the big city, is really a hitman.
Cool.
And he goes to the big city, and he's like sleeping rough on the streets for a couple of days, and he's hanging out at this open air market in the middle. It's Leningrad, or St. Petersburg, I believe, is what they changed the name to. I don't know. Russia, they change all the city names back and forth all the time. But he's in this open air market, and this thug comes up and is hassling one of the guys selling there, and he's making all the people at the market pay protection money. And Danila, like, while the guy is hassling this dude, just walks up behind him, hits him, like punches him in the back of the head and grabs his gun while as the guy falls down, and just like
Sweet.
starts talking to the dude that he was hassling, or just walks off, I think, and then comes back around to like find the dude later. And he becomes this like weird sort of like he's helping people and trying to like make their lives better, but really aimlessly. And
so he's like a very bored and very dangerous Robin Hood.
Exactly. And he finds his brother, and his brother is like, oh, I want you to go and like find a place to stay and contact me if you need anything. I got to take care of this job, and like, I got to whack this dude.
Phrasing.
I don't need any help from you on it. But it's a hitman. Hitmen are allowed to whack dudes. That's what they do. Come on.
Okay, just to be clear, this hitman, regular or time travel hitman?
Regular, not time travel. Regular.
Okay.
So Danila, instead of just hanging out, he decides that he's going to make the hit himself. And so he
doesn't have the contract.
Doesn't matter. He immediately sets to making like a little tiny bomb and a like really basic silencer out of a Coke bottle.
All right.
And next thing you see is like he's in the market and he gets this like kicky beret and glasses, and he's got this like this very weird look that he's got going on. And he's walking through the market, and the dudes that ordered the hit are watching the market, waiting for his brother to make the hit. And he walks by, and he's like throws a packet of cigarettes on the ground, and the cigarettes explode. And the next thing you know, the dude that his brother was going to hit is dead. He just shoots him like while everybody's looking at the packet of cigarettes that exploded.
Okay.
And the hitman henchmen don't like it because they put a contract out on him, and his brother was supposed to make the hit, and so they try to chase him down and kill him.
That's why you don't do the hit without the contract.
Exactly.
This is like some 101 hitman shit. I'm the worst looper ever, and I know this.
Exactly. Even the worst looper knows this. But so he jumps on a trolley, and while he's riding that, he shoots one of the guys in the leg, and he escapes. And eventually, he hooks up with the trolley driver, who's like looks like she's about 20 years older than him.
All right.
And he got shot trying to get away, and she takes care of him, and they start this weird relationship where like they are like he's staying with her and sleeping with her, and they're hanging out, but they're really like, she has a husband that treats her really poorly, and there's all this like underlying trauma for her that's hanging around, and then they just don't have anything in common other than like that they want to have sex.
What do you call a Russian cougar? Like a Siberian tiger?
I guess so. Siberian tiger would be probably the best.
Or like an Amur leopard? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think that that's an easy. There's not an obvious leap to make there.
I need to find someone who speaks Russian and get like a literal translation. To all of our listeners in Russia, if you can tell me what a Russian cougar is called, then just DM it to Zane.
There you go. Yeah, lots of pictures to explain, diagrams. So he his whole thing, like he obviously is immediately like, oh, I want to help out this woman, and make her like, I want to get rid of her husband for her and help her out and like make things better for her. And in the meantime, the mob the Russian mob that wanted the guy killed, who's Chechen, and there's like some weird like random sort of like, and not random, it's just very Russian, like anti-Caucasus and anti-Semitic sort of racism that's just like there for no reason.
Okay, yeah, it's the like you are the wrong white person level of
Exactly. Very much
racism.
you are the wrong white person, sort of casual racism that you're just like you kind of have to be like, okay, maybe I'm just not Russian, or maybe this is just like one of
No,
those.
it's that racism that you can really only get in like former Soviet states and Boston.
It's racism you only get in places that have only had white people living there ever.
Yeah.
And so
Hate finds a way.
because he meets this German guy and he's like, the guy's name is like Hoffman. He's like, "Oh, are you Jewish?" And he's like, "No, I'm German." And he's like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. I don't like Jews." He's like, "What about Germans?" He's like, "Oh, I like Germans fine." You're like, "What?
All right.
What? Just cuz?"
What about German Jews? Who knows? We'll see how that.
So his brother, the mob has to pay his brother because the hit got done one way or another, whether his brother did it or not. And his brother splits the money with him, and then it's like, hey, we should go into business as like a hitman co-business thing. Like we should start our own hitman business together.
Is this going to turn into like Russian Double Dragons?
No.
Oh.
But the major theme of this movie and the way that it really is about trauma, partially, there's, like I said, some underlying childhood trauma that keeps getting, like, you get hints of throughout the movie. But the big thing is about, like, a man-child that traumatizes everyone. That's really more what this movie is about.
All right.
Because...
So you just kind of reverse the flow of trauma. It goes from the child to other sources.
Because whether you think of him as... whether he looks like an adult or a teenager, and he looks like a teenager... he really acts like a child. Like he's really obsessed with this band he saw the music video of, and he keeps like trying to find their albums and like wanting to go to their concerts, and he's just really obsessed with it. And then he just has these like, it doesn't seem like he has any good way to relate to people, where he's just very like service based, where it's like, what do you need? I'll just do whatever you need, and then you will be like, your problems will all be fixed.
Okay, that's a little simplistic.
That's it's really, so like he's hooking up with this older woman, and her husband comes around, and he comes to the door, and so Danilo is just like, "Give me your key." Like she's gone, and her husband comes around. And he's like, "Give me your key. You never come here again." He goes like, "What the fuck is this?" He tries to punch him. Just immediately drops down and punches him in the balls. And then takes his key and locks him out.
Oh my god, that is like... that's the platonic ideal of a beta cuck.
Oh, it really is. And the guy comes back later, and he comes back after... so the mob has sort of like... Danilo's been sort of like... he's been co-opted for more work, but it's this really complicated, like... I think there must be like competing... it's not really clear, but they're like competing groups of mobsters where he's doing work with like some people to kill a bunch of guys in an apartment. And at the same time, the guys who he did the hit, or who he did the hit for, who did not contract him for the hit, are looking for him and want to find him, and are cracking down on him and his brother.
All right.
So they come to, they show up at the apartment, and at this girl's apartment, this chick's apartment, and they assault her and do a bunch of terrible stuff to her. And then he comes along and he's like, "What happened? Oh no, like, how could they do this to you? I'll kill them and whatever." And she's just like, "Dude, you need to chill on all this. Like, you've caused me nothing but trouble." And then he shows up again, and her husband's back, and he's trying to beat her up. And he just walks in with a shotgun, and he's loaded all of his shotgun shells with nail heads. He took out the shot, and he put nail heads in instead. And he just shoots the guy in the foot, and like, you don't see it, but it's like basically like blew his foot off.
Oh boy.
And he's just like, come on. He tells her, he's like, come on, let's go. I got money. We'll just go. And she's like, what the fuck? You just, like, this guy is still my husband. Like, he's horrible, but you don't just, like, go around shooting people. That's no kind of solution. Like, it's very, like, everybody's very realistic, and then he's, like, this action movie character in the middle.
I love it. Just like an action hero torn from their cinema, put into a realistic scenario. That's great.
Like, the only thing he does for this woman that he's been hooking up with is, like, he gets her assaulted by gangsters, and then he shoots her husband's foot off. And,
well, we can't say that's the only thing.
Okay, well, and, they had sex, too. But
we don't know how the dick was.
Yeah, we don't know how the dick was. We cannot vouch for whether that was a positive thing. He also dragged her to this concert that he wanted to go to, and she's just, like, standing there like, what the fuck is this? The whole time while he's, like, trying to party. And, like, afterwards, some girl walks up to him and is like, is that your mom? It's like, no. Like, he doesn't understand at all that this is, like, a really, like, he's dragging her to, like, a concert for, like, teenagers, and she's, like, 40, and it doesn't work at all.
That's a brutal own.
Yeah. So the whole movie, like, at the end, he kind of goes on this kill rampage, both over this, he was there to help a hit with these other mobsters. And after they killed the guys, he comes in and he just kills them instead, because he's really trying to be virtuous. He's basically trying to fuck over everybody else's plans in this sort of virtue-driven idea of, like, I'm not a mobster. I'm trying to help good people. And he kills the mobsters, and then the other dudes come after his brother. And they are, they beat him up and all that. And he comes back. And so here's his tough brother that was supposed to be taking care of him. That's a hitman and is, like, the big man in the city. That's like a father to him. And his brother is just, like, naked in this room, sobbing while these mobsters are there, like, waiting for his little brother to return. And this was where he prepped the shotgun and all that. He bought a shotgun, like, sawed off the barrel, sawed off the butt, made these, like, nail head bullets for it. And he comes in and just, turns the corner, blows the head mobster away, makes the other two mobsters get on the ground and puts a bullet in one of them, in both of them. And then he turns to his brother. And he's, like, hugging his brother. His brother's just sobbing and is like, like, I was like a father to you. Like, he's like, he's like, his brother's sobbing. He's just like, don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. Oh, my God, don't shoot me. He's like, no, you're like my father. You were like, remember when you carried me home and you really took care of me? And I would never hurt you. And you're family and I'll take care of you. And he, like, hands him all the money that the mobsters had. And he's like, here, go take care of mom. Go home and get a job with the police force. Or, Uncle Koya there. He's the head of the police force. He'll take care of you. He'll get you a job. And you just go home and do that. And I'll be fine. And, I'll see you later. It'll be all good. And
so the wrong brother saved the other one.
And so it's really like he's just this sort of souped up action hero, very similar to The Guest. Like, he's this sort of super soldier killer but he's supposed to be the action hero, and all he leaves are traumatized people in his wake. Like, nobody he touches is better off for having known him.
Oh. I mean, that wasn't the way that I thought this theme was going to go, but okay.
Yeah, he's a child that traumatizes people through his childishness.
You technically followed the rules.
Exactly. I thought...
If we've established anything, it's that, like, technically correct is the best kind of correct on this show. That's right.
Yes, technically correct is always the best kind of correct.
Oh boy.
This movie is a trip. The music's great because it's all like, they got these fun Russian weird like folk pop bands, for like 90s Russian folk pop bands to do the soundtrack.
I can picture any two of those words combining into a song, but when you put in the third, it loses me, and I need to see what this is.
The style of this movie will continually lose you. Like I say, he's got this kicky beret and these little round glasses that he wears, and it's not like, and he's supposed to look goofy. Like, you're supposed to be sold that this is like a hip way to dress.
Like what? Like Dr. Strangelove glasses? Like John Lennon?
Like Strangelove glasses.
Oh. Okay, and they just no sell it. All right.
Yeah, it's just got these like, it's this whole thing of like he's supposed to be cool somehow, and he just all is this weird mesh of style that does not feel like it connects at all, but is totally weird and entrancing and fun. And the movie is a lot more fun than like, it's more fun than it is traumatic, but it's fun because like they really just try to play up him as like this hero, and so you're really sold on his heroic values, while everybody around him gets nothing of value from him being heroic.
Last week, you were talking about a super soldier murderer as a hero multiple times before correcting yourself, and now you're referring to this guy as a hero again. And I am starting to really feel bad about threatening you at the top of the show.
I just, there are certain ideals that one ascribes to as a young man that get stuck in your head, and sometimes you don't lose those ideals as deeply as you want to. I try to beat it back, but,
Is that a copy of The Catcher in the Rye on the shelf behind you? I am deeply concerned about where this is going to go.
You take my sparkles, I take your life. That's how this goes.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. Oh, suddenly this went somewhere else. So anyways, next week hopefully happens.
I'll be here next week. Everybody else, that's an open question.
That's our individual choices, I guess.
That's right. You'll watch the movie. You'll enjoy the movie.
These now also feel like threats, and yeah, I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it, Zane. Promise.
I'm glad. Any final thoughts before we sign off this week?
Yeah, I would never encourage anyone to call the police, but if you're listening,
don't call the police.
Yeah, it's a bad idea.
You can find me on Twitter at TheZaneSimon. You can find Troy on Twitter at PDLMMA. Give us a like over on YouTube. Do it. Do it. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. Both those are really meaningful, and there will be no consequences if you do that.
And I keep forgetting that we only release the audio and none of you can see the pattern I'm blinking.
That's right. Troy, there's no help coming for you. We'll be back in just a few days with our reaction episode. So everyone, thanks for tuning in, and you will hear us again soon.
Thank you for saying us.